If this isn't the most anti-American treasonous act proposed by Congress, I don't know what is. Congress is attempting to link U.S. military and Israeli forces through the NDA Act. Section 224 of the newly proposed House version of the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, creates the United States Israeli Defense Technology Corporation Initiative. This controversial provision aims to structurally blend the defense sectors and technologies of the United States and Israel to an unprecedented degree, moving far beyond traditional financial or military aid packages. The proposal shifts the U.S.-Israel alliance from a system of voted foreign aid into permanent structural defense procurement and integration. The bill directs the Pentagon to appoint a senior executive agent explicitly tasked with managing and accelerating deep bilateral military-industrial integration. It mandates joint development, network integration, and data fusion across next-generation warfare sectors. This includes AI, autonomous systems, cyber defense, quantum computing, directed energy, and biotechnology. So all in all, by establishing or expanding Israeli defense manufacturing facilities on American soil, it seeks to deeply embed these partnerships into local U.S. job markets. This bill is already receiving a lot of opposition. Foreign policy experts and anti-war advocacy groups such as Roots Action and the Quincy Institute strongly oppose Section 224. They warn that the provision would accord Israel a more integrated military relationship with Washington than even traditional NATO allies. The primary criticism is that moving the alliance into the opaque machinery of defense acquisition permanently bypasses future diplomatic, public, and congressional oversight. Opponents argue this locks future generations of Americans into regional Middle Eastern conflicts regardless of shifting public opinion or humanitarian concerns. And we all know that Donald J. Trump struck Iran because of Israel. We all know that Israel controls our government by paying our congressmen through AIPAC. If this isn't the most anti-American treasonous act, I don't know what is.
They are moving forward with merging the United States and Israeli militaries, where they tried to kill the bill, but pro-Israel voices made it through once again. This will permanently intertwine the United States and Israeli militaries and defense industries. There's no going back. The systems will literally be intertwined. This includes linking military systems together, shared authorization of data networks for military and intelligence agencies, links together cooperative research, as in quantum computing, AI, biotechnology, cybersecurity, autonomous direct energy weapons system, beams, allowing Israeli defense firms to expand on the United States soil, completely shifting oversight, moving it away from public eye into some of the more opaque, bureaucratic defense Pentagon spending, basically making it very difficult for us to know anything that's going on. The Department of Defense would be required to have a single executive agent to synchronize these cooperative efforts with both nations. I'm sure you can imagine the kind of person they're probably going to elect to watch the oversight of the synchronization of the United States and Israeli military.
Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to my power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Lakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who were well and teach well, being great examples to our young brothers. Peace and blessings to the full elect. Lord willing, we be a part of that number. I'm the brother Qadar from the GMS branch Chicago, coming back with another video. And this video is going to be entitled, Congress quietly moves to integrate U.S. and Israeli militaries. All right, so like I was reading the title of that, but I plan on titling this video, all right, U.S. and Israeli militaries merge with a question mark. Okay, and we understand that that ICE, that IDF soldiers are already in ICE, so they're already integrated, so to say. Okay, but they really want to integrate it now with this bill that's that they plan on being passed, concerning Israeli and U.S. forces being merged, man. Okay, so it says in the first steps towards the shifting aid further into the shadows, the House's 2027 NDAAs would all but fuse two countries' armed forces together. Okay, it says at a time when the American public is expressing unprecedented levels of distrust in the Israeli government, Congress just proposed tying the U.S. to the Israeli military more than ever before. All right, and these people, and there's a few people who know about this, But when you compare them to the masses, a lot of them don't know. Okay, a lot of them don't know about this shit, man. They're gonna lose their marbles when they find out. You know? It says buried in a House's version of the 2027 National Defense Authorization Act released on Tuesday is Section 224 entitled United States-Israel Defense-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. The provision will arguably do more to intertwine the U.S. military with the Israeli military, more than the $200 billion inflation-adjusted and military assistance Israel has received from the U.S. since its founding in 1948. The 1948ers, you know. It says, it says $200 billion, man. That's how much they sent these little hats. All right. Yet these people over here paying fucking hey, it's Chicago, man. Hey, $6 for gas, almost $7. Okay. Hey, meanwhile, price of everything is just going up, man. Okay, but yeah, these Amalekites are getting $200 billion, man. All right, billions sent every year. All right, and it's not just the U.S. It's countries worldwide. All right, Germany and etc. Section 224 lays the groundwork for bilateral research and development, co-production of weapons. Puts it right here. It says co-production of weapons, joint ventures, licensing agreements, and seemingly every manner of U.S.-Israeli military industrial complex cooperation. The U.S. and Israel already work together heavily on missile defense, but this provision will greatly expand coordination to seemingly every area of defense tech, including AI, quantum, autonomous systems, directed energy, cyber, biotech, and many more. So it just shows you Amalek is behind all of this. You know, the quantum computing that they're trying to build here in Chicago. All right, the data centers that's defiling your water around you. That's making your electricity bill skyrocket. Okay. So it's these Amalekites that's behind this, man, because ultimately they're trying to build their one world order. All right. They're trying to build their new world order. They're trying to establish their kingdom on the left hand side. Okay. He wants to be like the Most High, as the scripture says in the book of Obadiah. He wants to have eyes on everybody. He wants to chip everyone. Okay. Have all your information in the data centers. Okay. I believe it's Naperville where they're trying to build one the size, a data center the size of like 8 football fields, man. You know? And my profession, I actually do IT. You know, I work with, computers and different technologies and so to say. And we have a data center in we have a small data center in the company I work for. And that room has like 2 ACs in it because it just generates so much heat. The data center generates so much heat, man. It takes so much energy. You know? And do you know how much resources you drain just by supporting that, man? You know? Hey, I believe there's one in Denver, either Denver or Michigan. And or either Ohio, something around there, and the people around that area, they're suffering, man. All right, black fluids coming out their faucets, man. All right, hey, this is what these Amalekites are planning, man. This is their agenda. Okay, to have eyes on everyone. To know what you're doing, to know your plans, to control what you do, how you think, etc., etc. Okay, it says biotech and many more. It also proposes network integration and data fusion. In other words, the U.S. military's data could soon be Israeli military's data. Okay, and they're gonna come over here. All right, because this is more than likely going to be passed, if it didn't already. Okay, but and they're gonna come over here and beat you niggas over the head too, man. Okay? You niggas that try to protest. Okay, it says, if fully enacted, this proposal will provide a higher level of military-industrial integration than the U.S. has with any other country in the world. To be sure, the U.S. has worked closely with its NATO partners on a co-production and shared supply chains, most notable via the Defense Production Action Plan and as the number one arms dealer in the world. The U.S. provides weapons to militaries across the globe, but that is mostly a one-way street, with the U.S. providing weapons to foreign buyers who only occasionally make parts for those weapons themselves, as in the case of the F-35's global supply chain. Section 224 will be a different beast entirely. It will fuse the U.S. and Israeli defense sectors in multiple areas vital to the battlefields of the future, like autonomous systems and cyber. It would also bring extraordinary Israeli influence to the U.S. beyond what it already has through the Israel lobby and its robust networks of social media influencers. All right. It says it would give the Israeli government the opportunity to greatly expand one of the most powerful levers of the influence in U.S. politics. They already influencing it, man. All these niggas are bought and sold out. All right, and your government has abandoned you, GI. Okay, I'm gonna make a video on that too. That's the spirit. Okay, all these niggas bought and paid for it, man. Okay, it says greatly expand one of the most powerful levers of influence in the U.S. politics, jobs in the U.S. by expanding or starting new production facilities like it already has in Mississippi and Arkansas. All right, so I'm gonna go to chat GBT. I just want to search something up real quick. Okay, I just want to search something up real quick. Okay, I just want to search something up real quick. What Apostle Hart said, I'm uploading this raw. Okay, so I just posted it in ChatGPT, and obviously they're giving like the summary. Okay, now I'm gonna ask, what is the potential downside of this worst case scenario? It says the potential downside depends on how far military integration goes. The article's concern is about deeper U.S.-Israeli military cooperation, shared systems planning, interoperability, logistics, intelligence, etc. A worst-case scenario would not be a guaranteed outcome, but a set of risks critics worry about. The U.S. gets pulled into a regional war, which they already are. Okay. All right, the scripture says the least of the flock shall draw them out. Okay, Amalek, and they just signed a ceasefire, but we know that shit's not going to last long. Okay? This happens all the time. This is the same shit that happens, man. Okay, if the U.S. and Israeli militaries become more tightly linked, an Israeli conflict with another state or armed group could create pressure for direct U.S. involvement. They'll have no choice. Which is why they're passing this bill, and they're going to start some more conflict. A crisis involving Iran, for example, could escalate quickly if American assets, bases, or personnel are involved. Loss of strategic independence. Critics argue that deeper integration could make it harder for U.S. leaders to separate American interests from Amalek security decisions, in which that's already happening. All right, what Amalek is doing, they're further tightening that grip, okay, because they understand that the U.S. citizens are like, man, fuck these people, man. Okay, there was a video of a guy, he went to the Congress office, man, and he was like, U.S. first or Amalek first, and they all said Amalek. All right, of course they said Israeli, but it says in a crisis, Washington may feel obligated to support actions it might otherwise oppose. Escalation risk. More integrated military networks can create a commitment traps If one partner acts, the other may be expected to respond. Exactly. Okay? It says a defense arrangement can sometimes be interpreted by adversaries as a broader military alliance, increasing tensions. U.S. forces becoming targets. All right? It says, U.S. forces becoming targets, American bases, ships, intelligence facilities. It says American bases, ships, intelligence facilities, or troops in Western Asia could become targets by groups hostile to Israel or the U.S. This could increase risk for U.S. service members, domestic political consequences. Okay. It also says international reputation and diplomatic costs. It says a deeper military relationship could intensify divisions inside the U.S. over foreign policy, defense spending, and involvement overseas. If U.S. capabilities are associated with controversial Israeli military actions, critics argue it could damage U.S. credibility with some allies and population abroad. Right, because, hey, these people are a fucking joke. These Americans are a fucking joke, man. Okay? A fucking joke. All right, let me grab. Let me see. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm gonna hold that there. And I also wanted to grab this Jeremiah. All right, where it talks about the least of the flock drawing them out, man. It's the book of Jeremiah 50 and verse 45. Therefore hear ye the counsel of Yahweh, that he have taken against Babylon and his purposes, that he have purpose against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. So didn't we just talk about the commitment traps? Okay, and they're already in the commitment trap. All right, they already bought and paid for by the Amalekites, man. Okay. Hey, hey, America is the horse, and Amalek is the rider, man, controlling them wherever they go. Okay, and we all know the U.S. is Amalek's bitch. Okay, and the whole world knows this, man. Okay. So whatever they tell them to do, whoever they attack, hey, they're gonna have to bend the knee, okay, and just oblige. Okay, so this little peace treaty that they signed, it doesn't even matter. It never does, man. All right, and Salah, give me 1 second. Let me grab this Habakkuk 2 and 6. All right, because we understand that we understand that Amalek is going to draw them to this World War III ultimately, man. All right, this Habakkuk 2 and verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. All right, hey, that taunting proverb, man. All right, hey, America is a joke to these nations now, man. Everybody sees Trump as a fucking joke. He's a clown. Okay? Hey, search up Trump steak. All right? Not the steak like the meat. I'm talking about Trump steak. Like wood. All right? You're going to see a name, Riley, man. All right, look up that information, man. All right? All these nations know. Okay? So these guys, they understand that this guy is just a puppet, okay? Because he answers to Bibi, okay, and Bibi answers to the banking families, okay. So we already understand this, and we're not surprised, man. Okay, we just see the prophecies playing out. Okay, that's why they want to tighten the integration, because they understand that everyone's finding out. Okay, but the way this devil is, Esau's in that freezer spirit, man. He gonna blow this whole thing up. If nobody else, if he can't get his way, he gonna blow this whole thing up, man. You know, Hey, so I just wanted to get into that, man. Lord, when it was edifying, didn't want to make it too long, but I just wanted to report the news. We the watchmen, right? You know, so I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim El Shai, Bashim Kakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to those who elect, Lord willing, to be a part of that number. Shalom, Kwame Sharala, and a Bible Ball.